guys and girls, and welcome to your bargain bin of entertainment. Today, we predict the Premier League for this season. Let's go. And right, so yeah, as you can see, this is the Premier League table. We've got who we think is going to be champions, Champions League, Europe, and so on. And we're going to give our predictions as to where we think people are going to stay and go and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so we're just going to go along the list. It's not in numerical order, so it's a bit of a bargain bin, but that's what you come for, so that's fine. So we'll start with Aston Villa. And how do you think Aston Villa will get on this season?
I'm going to personally say mid-table. With the work Gerrard has done in the transfer window and overall so far, hasn't really impressed me by any means. I've not done any business in terms of bringing anyone. I was fully expecting him to do a full-on Rangers, where when he went to Rangers he spent money, rebuilt that team and made them more European contenders. He's done nothing like that at Villa. The deals they've done hasn't been anything interesting. I don't think they've done any business. So I think personally, out of everything, I think they're good enough for relegation, and I think they're good enough to just survive. But I think mid-table for me.
Yeah, I agree, and I think they will stay up. I was like kind of toying between just surviving and mid-table because like they haven't brought enough in, I don't think, and I think they're going to struggle. But I think Gerrard will get some good games out of them, like against like your Chelseas and stuff like that. He will make them fight for the shirt. So I think they'll be about mid-table. I think they'll pick up some scary games, like against like the bigger teams. I think they'll do well. So yeah, I agree. We'll go mid-table with them. Nice and easy.
Nice.
Now your favourite team, Liverpool.
As you can tell.
How do you think we'll get on?
I'm gonna say Champions League. I don't think we're gonna win it this year.
Oh, controversial.
Yeah, I don't. Even though I'd love to see us win it. I'm 100%. I'd love to see us win it, but we've lost Mane. I think that's gonna be a huge difference maker because we're so used to that front line is so used to having him there. We've brought Darwin Núñez in. I'm very interested to see what he does this season. But
people's been saying he's like a new Andy Carroll, haven't they?
Immediately they were like Andy Carroll, and the worst part, he got a pony. So immediately, it was like, no, we don't want that reference. We don't want that. No.
Hey, but I'm kind of on the fence. It's like I think it's going to be a two-horse race again. I think it's either going to be Man City or Liverpool that win the league, unfortunately. But I think it will be close. But I think I'm with you. I think City will still get it. Definitely with Haaland. Haaland will come in and absolutely tear the league apart, I think. And so they've just got rid of like some of the players, but improved wherever they've got rid of them players. So, which I don't think Liverpool have.
I agree.
So I think it'll be a Champions League, but I don't think you'll win it.
No, I agree completely.
Yeah, and so we'll quickly move on. And Chelsea, how do you think Chelsea will do?
Champions League, I'm going to say, even though they've lost a few players this summer, I think they're too good. I think they've got some good players. The only thing I think what's going to cost them in the long run, they have no striker. They've not done any business to get in a proper striker because they sold Lukaku and didn't do anything else.
Yeah, they haven't got anything else at all.
No. Timo Werner is so inconsistent you can't guess him. But they've got a good enough squad, especially adding Sterling into the mix. There's goals in them, but I don't think they're going to do anything and touch the top two. Yeah,
I think they'll challenge like Europe Champions League easy, but I don't think they'll be anywhere close to being champions. Do you know what I mean? I think they'll be either Europa or Champions definitely because I love Tuchel as a manager. I think he's a really good manager. So I think he'll do well. And so this is getting along quite easy, mate. This is haven't really disagreed at the moment. And Everton, how do you think Everton will get on?
I must admit, I would love it if they get relegated.
I thought you were going to say that, like.
I just love it because just for the pure enjoyment of because they weren't good enough last season. They should have went down.
Yeah.
They should have went down. It was just lucky for them. Burnley and Leeds were better than them. I think they're going to just survive this season, though. Yeah. I don't think they're going to be mid-table. I just think they're just going to survive and just going to be in that bottom half. I just don't see them doing anything.
Yeah, I think the teams that came up aren't good enough to hurt them, if you know what I mean. And so I think they're going to be kind of like, not a yo-yo club, just stuck there until they either get their finances right or whatever. It's just, they were a team in shambles last year, and they should have went down. But as I said, I think the teams below them were just a little bit worse than them. So I think they'll just survive again. Unfortunately, I don't think they'll get relegated. So, but we were both like that.
I just want to see it, just because I just feel they've got, my biggest problem with Everton in general at the moment, they got this general feel that they should be in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Just to be brought down a notch would actually do them good, so they have to kind of rebuild. But you know, be interesting to see.
Yeah, fingers crossed for you that they do get relegated, mate.
Yeah.
Right, so West Ham United, how do you think we're going to do?
Oh, I think that's a really interesting one, because last season they were really good under Moyes. Like, they've done an amazing job. He's gone and done some incredible work. They've brought an Italian striker in I've never really heard of. They spent 35 million the other day. It's a bit of an unsure one. I'm gonna say Europe, either the Europa Conference League or inside the Europa League. I think they're good enough for 8th, 9th, 10th. I think they're gonna do well this season again.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think they're gonna be like in between here. I think that's roughly where I think they would be. But I'll go Europe, and I think out of the teams that's left, I think Man United might beat them to Europe, but I'm not too sure yet. Unfortunately, I'm saying that. Really don't know, but but yeah. So we'll move quickly on. We'll come back to that one. I think that one's going to be a discussion that we'll have to fight.
For sure.
So Leeds, how do you think dirty Leeds will do? How do you think?
I think relegated, if I'm being honest. They've not done no business in the window. I think at least one of the relegated teams will just survive. I mean, not relegated, sorry. One of the teams who came up from the Championship are going to survive, because we always get that one team who are always good enough. And Leeds last season were not great. And from what I was seeing the last few games of the season, nothing about the new manager is going to change that.
Yeah.
So I personally think they're going to get relegated.
The worst thing they ever done was got rid of Bielsa, I think. I think Bielsa was a phenomenal manager for them, and then it just seems the way of like the Premier League now is as soon as you start struggling, like your manager's gone. And it's a bit of a shame that it is that way. You know what I mean? It's because Bielsa would have turned them around. Like I think if Leeds start like they did last season, they'll survive. But I just can't see it happening. So I think it'll be either relegation or just surviving. But yeah, I agree. And a couple of people will hate me for saying that, but I do think we'll get relegated this year.
Yeah.
And Brentford, how do you think the new boys will do? How do you think
I personally, they're going to go either of two ways. They're going to be a Sheffield United, where they had one great season, relegated the next.
Yeah.
Or they'll be good enough and keep themselves in the Premier League. I think they're going to be on that side of the spectrum and just survive. I think the two other teams who come up are going to not be as good. So I think I'm going to say just survived.
Yeah, there's always one team that, like, when they first come in, nobody knows what they're about or whatever. So, like, they get the games in really, really early. And they win the games. Like, I remember Hull City turning Arsenal over. And they just came up, they had no one, and then they got relegated by Christmas. They just went on a downward spiral. So I think it might be the same. I think they will survive. I do like Brentford. I think they're a good football squad. So yeah, I agree with that one, mate. I agree. Yeah. Right, Crystal Palace.
I'm going to say mid-table.
Right.
I'm going to say mid-table. Just by purely... Vieira did a good job last season. Did a good job. He kept them mid-table. He didn't do anything exciting, but mid-table for me, just because I think he's building a good squad there. Maybe next season they can push for 8th, 9th, 10th. I just don't think they're ready for that jump. So I'm going to say mid-table for me.
Yeah, I think they're safe from relegation, and I don't think they've got any problems there at all. But again, I think Vieira is quite defensively minded, so it'll be hard to beat them. Yeah. So I think they'll get a lot of draws this year, which is good. I mean, it'll help them to stay up in the league, really. So I agree, mate. I agree. Yeah, this is getting too easy. Right.
I know.
Wolverhampton Wanderers.
The longest name in the Premier League.
Yeah.
You know? This was tough for me, just because they do play some really good football.
Yeah.
They do play some really good football. I just don't know if they're good enough for 8th, 9th, 10th. I say mid-table personally.
Right. Cool. And
yeah.
And again, it all depends on the strikers for me. Wolves. If the strikers are on form, then I think you're right. I think they'll push on to 8th, 9th and 10th if they have a good run of form. But you never know, do you, with the Premier League? Because Wolves could spank Liverpool 10-0 and then get a draw against Brentford or something. You know what I mean? It's it's
inconsistent.
Inconsistent, yeah. It's one of those. And right. And so I agree. Now we'll go on to the team that nobody really likes.
We just have to pretend we want them to do well.
Cristiano United. Suey.
Oh God, I don't want them to make the Champions League next season. Just be purely because Ronaldo, but I think they're going to do it just because Ten Hag is going to have a difference maker. I think from what I've seen in pre-season anyway, they're looking better. The biggest problem is a striker. I think they're lacking a big striker. They've got Ronaldo, but he wants to go. He wants to go back to Portugal. Don't blame him, better weather. But in terms of as a striker, I think he's not. I don't know how much he'll want to play if he can't leave.
Yeah, he's not the answer. I don't think. He'll be good for the team because of the experience, who he is. People will be scared to play against him because it is Cristiano Ronaldo. Yeah. But I think at the same time, you need a good squad around you, and that they have shown brilliance in the pre-season. I just hope, not for Man United, but for England's sake as well, that Rashford plays well this season.
Same.
I would love to see it. If Rashford and Sancho play well, I think they'll be definitely in Europe. But I'm kind of in Europe though. I don't think they'll get Champions League.
Yeah, I understand. It's a tough one for me because it's between two teams for me who could do it. So I agree as well. I totally see Europe as well.
Yeah, we'll put Europe because that's where we kind of know that they're going to be. Well, that's where we think they're going to be. I can't predict the future, otherwise we wouldn't be doing this.
Exactly.
but
big brains.
Big brain. So we'll put them there for now. And right, so Brighton and Hove Albion. How do you think they'll do?
Mid-table again. I think Graham Potter's done a great job of Brighton, especially looking at that squad. That half of that team wouldn't be, in my opinion, you wouldn't see them in the Premier League. I think they're very much Championship quality.
Yeah.
But he's doing a great job with that team. And I like him as a manager. I think he seems like a genuinely nice guy. So I just think mid-table. I don't see them getting into relegation. I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, he's kind of like one of those managers that you'd like to go for a pint with after the match, isn't he? He's he's kind of like, you know that you'd have a good time, but don't get in the... It's like one of those, the girlfriend's dad, isn't it? You want to kind of perform well in front of him, not in that way, that's weird.
I was about to say.
But you want to impress him, but you don't want to get on the wrong side of him.
Oh God. My mind just goes there every time.
See, I've just found your guilty pleasure, mate. What can I say? So yeah, we'll move on from that before we do any more dad-daughter jokes.
Yeah.
Right, Leicester City. How do you think they'll do this season?
I think 8th, 9th or 10th.
Yeah,
I think
agree.
that team's too good. Rodgers, I'm interested to see what happens with him though, because he was on the brink last season where they weren't really doing anything, just floating in mid-table, and then I think they're just good enough for 8th, 9th, 10th. They're not going to do much else. I can't see him pushing for Europe.
Yeah, I think
weird.
I just hope he doesn't get like sacked early on, because then the later part of the season he actually got them playing, because I had loads of injuries at the beginning of last season.
Yeah.
He's kind of kept a lot of the squad, which is good. But I haven't seen them do much business, so he either really knows that his team are really going to be alright, or they're going to just kind of cope with being 8th, 9th and 10th with what they've got.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. They just don't... They've not done anything to, like, stand out, you know?
Yeah.
They've not done anything.
I mean, there's still a month left of the transfers, but I think all the big business should be done by now if you're trying to blend them into your squad. So, yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it? It's a very weird one.
Yeah, it's strange as anything. It's so strange to me, because it's business you want to get done, want to get it, you know. I always think you want to get your transfers in early as possible.
Yeah.
Get them integrated into your squad. Very much like what Liverpool have done every season, is always integrate the squad early, and then that's it for the window.
Yeah.
So it's a strange decision to do it late.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree, mate. Totally agree. And right, Fulham. How do you think Fulham will get on?
I think they're going to be the one team who just survive, because they've been yo-yo for years. And I think it's now time to see them push on from being a yo-yo team and be good enough to just survive. And, you know, I think they're going to be that team who survive, and we see somebody else who've been in the Premier League for years come down. I think they're good enough for survival.
Good. I hope you're right, because again, it's kind of like that parachute payment thing, isn't it? Like when you keep on going up and down. So I hope they are good, because it's always nice to see new teams in the Premier League instead of like the same people going up and down. So yeah, that would go just surviving as well. I think that's a fair choice. And so now we'll go on to where I work. Good old Geordie land. Newcastle United. How do you think they'll do this season?
You know, I think they're going to be a bit of a surprise. I think they're going to reach 8th, 9th, 10th. I think we're going to see them in there. Just because Eddie Howe's now going to have a whole pre-season with that squad. They've done a bit of business. I think I'll be very interested to see the last month to see who they bring in. But I think they're going to have a good season. I think we're going to see them around there. And I think against the top 4 or 5 or 6, they're going to be really good, and I think that's where they're going to pick up quite a bit of points.
Yeah, I agree. Like the word on the street around Newcastle is that like it's like going to sell out every week now, and so they're going to have like all of the home support with them. And I know quite a lot of people that go to away games as well, so they're going to have like a good fan base wherever they are, which I think will help them pick up points when they're away from home as well. But like there's a lot of talk, like obviously I'm not a Newcastle fan, but like I work in Newcastle, I work with people that support them, and like the word on the street is like the team's playing well, like everyone's settled, everyone seems to be going well. So yeah, I agree. I think 8th, 9th and 10th, I think they're on the slow building process.
Completely.
And I think after another couple of seasons, I think they're gonna like either take over like Europe every season, or like the Saudi backed owners are just going to leave, and then they're just going to be down in the bin again. So I think it'll go one or two ways then, I really do. And that was easy. And right, how do we think about Nottingham Forest?
I'm going to say relegated, because you can't bring 12 players in and be okay with that, because how are you going to gel? How are you going to gel between 12 players? Mixing in that Forest team, they've let go, like, I thought they'd bring a couple of them players who they had from last season maybe into the team, but it's 12 new players from what I've seen, and I don't see a meshing. Steve Cooper is an amazing manager, really good, but I just don't I don't know what he's going to do with that squad. It seems a bit of a mess.
It's not looking good, like, is it? It's not looking.
No.
I'm really, really worried for them. When I seen how many people they brought in, it's kind of like what you do when you're in like school, when you need loads of people quick. It's like, just get loads of team in and then just put them all on the pitch, and then somebody throws a ball in the air and everyone runs after it. I just hope it's not like that for them. And I think if they do well for the first couple of games in the season, I think they'll kind of get hope and they might try and push on a bit, but I still think they'll get relegated. And I think by the time the team gels and actually does well together, it'll be far too late in the season to then push on. And that's why I agree. I don't think getting 12 new signings in your squad's the way to go. Like, I really don't think that's the way to go. So I agree, mate. I agree. I hope the proof is wrong.
Yeah, I do as well. I like Forest. I think they've got a decent team. I just, no, I don't see it. I don't see it mentioned.
No. Right now, the best team in the world, and good old Arsenal Football Club. How do you think they'll get on this thing?
Well, for Arsenal Fan TV, I hope, all you see is them moaning constantly. But, I think they're going to do Champions League. I think Arteta's done a good job, I think he's done a really good job with that team. And bringing in Gabriel Jesus is a huge signing. He's going to be a huge player for them. It's going to be interesting.
He's been phenomenal for us, to be honest. Even in pre-season, his link-up play already is unbelievable, and we've got a really young squad, which I think is going to help them because they're all youngsters, but they've been playing together for years now.
I agree.
And I remember watching, I think it was an England game when Emile Smith-Rowe and Saka were down the left-hand side, and they just ruined the team that they played. And if we can keep them fit and keep that up with a good striker in front, I think we'll be really good. I think we'll do really well.
Yeah, completely. The only thing I'd think to myself, if it's a big if, Gabriel Jesus gets injured, Eddie Nketiah, I'm not 100% certain on yet. I need to see a bit more. He needs to score a few more goals, in my opinion, because when he loses confidence, his form isn't.
Yeah, I agree. It's the same with Martinelli. If Martinelli's not getting games, then if his head drops, then he's nowhere near the same player as what he is when he's bang on form. You know what I mean? So I think it is going to be one of those. I hope they win every game.
I think they'll do well. I'm going to say they're going to be. I wouldn't be surprised if they reach third place ahead of Chelsea. I really wouldn't be surprised. If they have a good season, they could finish third.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree, mate. And speaking of the worst team in the Premier League now, and Tottenham Hotspur.
Europe. Definitely Europe. But I'm so interested because I remember right at the end of last season, Conte kept saying for them to sack him. It was one of the weirdest interviews. It was like, what are you doing? Do you not want this job?
It's like, oh well, sack me. Sack me, go on. Sack me, Daddy, sack me.
I know Tottenham's bad, but come on,
Get me out of Tottenham.
It was weird as anything, one of the weirdest interviews. So if Conte stays, I think definitely in between Europe. But if he goes, who do they get? Who would want that job? I wouldn't want it. Everyone gets sacked. Yeah. So if that's the case, 8th, 9th or 10th. But I think if Conte stays, Europe for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I think Daniel Levy, the chairman, just wants instant satisfaction. I think he just wants them to win everything straight away, which isn't the way football is nowadays. And then, so if you've lost 3 or 4 games in a season, he's like, right, well, I can get someone better than you, and I need to win every season, every game, every season. So I hope you're wrong. I hope it is 8th, 9th, or 10th. But I think there will be Europe. I really do. And so right, and Southampton. How do you think Southampton will get on?
Just surviving for me. Ooh. Just surviving, just because it's Hasenhuttl. I can never pronounce his name, but he keeps getting them to just survive, and I think this will be another season where they're just going to survive, but they've not done any business. They've not done anything to make me say they're going to win, going to do anything or get mid-table. It's a strange one. It's a really strange one with Southampton.
Yeah, they don't really do enough to like push themselves further up. So, which is a shame because the youth squad has been phenomenal for Southampton for years. But they just never they're either sell them quickly and then they're left with whatever team they've got, or they just underperform. So I'm kind of in between, and I think they'll be either relegated or just surviving, and so I'll go just surviving because I think the next team, I think they'll definitely go down. Yeah,
I'm the same. I'm in the exact same boat. Bournemouth straight down immediately. I just don't see anything from them to say they're going to survive.
Yeah,
just don't see it.
Because look at what Eddie Howe done with Bournemouth for so many seasons was more about what he done more than what the actual team done, and so I think I can't see them not going down, to be honest. I'm sorry, Bournemouth fans. It seems like it's doom and gloom for you. And last but not least, and Manchester City. There's only one place where I think we'll both decide.
Yeah, no doubt in my mind. It's like they've sold off. They sold Sterling, but I just don't think that harms that team at all. Fernandinho, they've lost, but they've got Calvin Phillips, so ridiculous. They've sold Zinchenko, but they're already looking at, is it Cucurella from Brighton?
Yeah, from Brighton.
They're just selling players, but then immediately get someone better anyway. So it won't have any effect on them. I think they're just gonna cruise the league, but I think Liverpool are gonna push them. But I think it's all Cities to win.
Yeah, I agree. I can't see anything else, to be honest. Like Bournemouth, I can't see them staying up. I think City will win. I think it's going to be a two-horse race for a couple of years between Liverpool and Man City. It's because obviously Klopp's a phenomenal manager and City's got all the money in the world, so it's kind of the battle between them both, isn't it? So so that's our list. What we'll need to do now is actually put them in order where we think they'll last, and I've already found a problem with this. It's 8th, 9th and 10th, and we've only got 8th and 9th, so we're going to have to move someone somewhere.
I was just looking at that. I would probably say Wolves then, if you're going to add in 10th maybe. I think other than that, I can't see anyone in that mid-table spot who could maybe take 10th.
Yeah, I agree. I think we'll do that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because I think we'll do well this season. Europe...
United 5th.
Yeah,
I'd say West Ham could get in there, but I think my mind's telling me it should be Tottenham ahead of West Ham though.
Yeah, my mind's telling me Tottenham. Right, so I think Newcastle I would put higher than Leicester.
I agree. I agree with that completely.
So we're putting them there. Right, mid-table then, and Aston Villa, Crystal Palace, Brighton.
I think that's probably going to be it. To be honest, I think that's a dead-on list because I don't see any movement with that.
Yeah, I agree. I think Leeds will. I think it'll be between them who goes up and down. I think it'll be hopefully a final game of the season kind of thing.
Yeah, that'd be good. That would be awesome.
I agree with that list, mate. And so that is good with me. That's good with me. That's our Premier League prediction. And so
perfect.
Yeah, cool. Again, a massive thank you to ScorpioReactsTV for doing this with me. I will link it in the description below if you do want to check him out. He's a great YouTuber. Definitely you should do that. Anyway, thank you again for watching your bargain bin of entertainment, and I'll see you in the next video.